Okay, guys, let's just wrap up real quickly. This doesn't take very long at all. So first degree burns, you have probably experienced a first degree burn in your life. If you've ever had a sunburn, definitely first degree burn. But some burns can be pretty severe to where you have an actual second degree burn. If they ever blister up, then that's a second degree burn. But if it's just red, then that is a first degree. Especially with my girls, curling irons and things, a lot of times that can be a first degree. But if there is a blister, then we're moving to second degree, because that means it's lower into those dermal layers. So the first degree is only the epidermis is involved. So you'll see the redness and you'll see some swelling, and it's going to hurt. What were you saying?
How do you burn yourself if those are going to be
We'll talk about it. So if you go to the lower layers on a second degree, which curling irons a lot of times will do, it'll blister up. If you've ever touched a hot stove or an iron or anything and it's blistered, so it's bubbled up, then that is a second degree burn. So not only have we burned all the way through the epidermis, but now we've burned down to the dermis. These have lots of blisters, so that's because this primary, where we don't have fluid, down here we have vessels. They are severed, they're leaking, and so that's why you get all that fluid built up underneath there. Lots of pain, lots and lots of pain with them.
Like if you have to so quick, you can touch something like really quickly.
Yeah, and you already have a burn. Yeah, because depending on the heat and things like that. You could have some scarring on a second degree, and it will be red, but it can even, depending on how deep it is, it can even be white or tan in color, which is a pretty bad burn. Now, your worst burns are your third degree burns. So not only do they burn through the first layer, your epidermis, and all the way through your second layer, your dermis, it can even burn down through the hypodermis down to the muscle or even bone. So these are like your house fires and things like that. That would be a third degree burn. So yeah, pain on initiation, but why would we not have pain on a third degree? Yes, everything's gone. So this dermis layers where we have nerve endings, we've burned them completely off. So yeah, they're not going to be painful. Can be white again, but think about house fires and people coming out of fires. It's black and leathery, brown, black color. Yes, Cherish?
When I was on a trip in Tennessee, my cousin burnt me with a straightener, and it was on like 400 and something, but the skin actually did turn black, and then it scarred over white. Like, would that be second or third degree burn?
That's still probably a second degree. Third degree burn is going to go all the way down to muscle. That would be a third degree burn.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, because what happens if you have third degree burn? You have to graft it. Yeah, there's nothing left there to grow. So you have to take skin from somewhere else, back, butt areas, back of the thighs, and then graft on that area that's burned.
But, like, what if there was a case not too long ago where a rape victim gave us on fire, and there was, like, nothing, no skin that they could, like, really recover to do that. What do they do in that case?
You can take grafts off of donors, too. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be your own. Yeah. So with burns, initially the big deal is, especially third degree burns, the thing that we worry about first is the loss of volume. Because again, when we burn through all those layers, those vessels are just open. So we're losing lots of fluid. Yes? Oh. Wasn't in here.
Okay.
I hadn't heard about that. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Have you heard of them?
No, I have not. So, again, we worry about dehydration initially or hypovolemia. So hypovolemic shock is what we worry about when we have third degree burns initially. So after we get them recovered in that acute phase, The second thing we worry about that they usually succumb to, depending on how much is burned, is infection. So we have a break in that primary skin, we're worried about infection. So they could die. They could make it through the burn initially and then end up dying weeks later in the hospital due to infection. Yes?
I'll say when I was about 7, I was making some noodles and the bowl tilted up and I had a burn right here. And they gave me some type of spray. I don't know if it was to keep it clean or just to cool it down, but I just remember being really
It probably had both. It probably had a cooling agent to help with the pain, but it also was probably an antiseptic.
Yeah, it was
because that would be a second-degree burn for sure.
Yes, it was white.
Yeah, and they can scar and yeah.
I used to come to school wrapped up like a mummy. Like it was bad, but it was so. I just remember being so cold, like ice.
Yeah. Okay, so a 36-year-old woman comes to the emergency department after being exposed to steam from a broken water heater. She describes extreme pain, so that should give you an indication what type of burn. Her skin is red, white, patchy, swollen, beginning to blister. That should give you your second clue to what it is. We have extreme pain and blistering. Yes, it is second degree. Second degree. Okay, you do need to know this, the rule of nines. You will see this again on your exam. So what you do is you just add it up. You know, you always hear in the news, or if you know someone that has a burn, they had 25% of their body burned or 90%. But this is where they're getting it from. So torso, front torso would be 18%. Then if they had back as well, that would be another 18%, and you would add those two. So 36% if they had front and back, just torsos. Normally they don't burn, you know, front and back. It's usually, depending on what type of fire, it may be just their front side. So they may have this front side, you know, face and everything else was protected, and one right arm. So what would that be?
Plus 18.
Yep. 22.5% of their body. So 22.5% of their body was burned. That's it. That's all you have to do. So if they say the front of the legs, it's 9% for one, 9% for the other. If it's the back of the legs, 9% for one, 9% for the other. Just add them up. So the question will tell you what percentage of it. Just the face, the front of the face, 4.5. The back of the face, or back of the head, 4.5. That is in your book as well. You have a quiz online. So in your Canvas, you have a quiz for Chapter 5. And if you get through your quiz, another good thing would be to work on those review questions at the end of the chapter. That'll help you on the exam. But then you have an opportunity to do very well on this exam because there's not a lot of information